From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, December the 14th, 2018. An Israeli soldier was severely injured in another terror attack today in the West Bank. An initial investigation by the IDF says that a Palestinian man broke into the military post outside of the Jewish settlement of Beit El and during a struggle stabbed the Israeli soldier and struck him in the head with a rock. The terrorist, who also was said to have sustained some injury, fled the scene and a search for him was underway. Meanwhile, the two IDF soldiers murdered yesterday in a terror attack also in the West Bank were laid to rest today. Thousands came out to mourn Sergeant Yosef Cohen and Staff Sergeant Yovel Mor Yosef, who were members of the Kfir Brigade's Netzach Yehuda, which is a unit for ultra-Orthodox soldiers to serve in the IDF. They were shot dead yesterday in a shooting attack outside the Givat Asaf outpost. A third soldier was critically injured in the shooting, and he is still fighting for his life. The civilian woman who was seriously injured in the attack is said to be improving today. Security in the West Bank has been increased in light of the recent spate of attacks. And last night, IDF and other security forces apprehended 40 Palestinian suspects wanted for terror activities, 37 of them known Hamas operatives. Following the raid last night, Israeli troops clashed with Palestinian rioters in the area who burned tires and threw rocks at them. The IDF used riot control measures to disperse the crowd. Several Palestinians were reportedly lightly injured. The Office of Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas issued a general condemnation of recent violence yesterday, but did not specifically condemn the Ofra and Givat Asaf terror attacks that left a total of 3 Israelis dead. The Times of Israel reports the statement also blames Israel for creating a climate in which they said the two sides are paying the price. Israel police are investigating an attack late yesterday on a Palestinian bus driver in the West Bank, believed to have been a hate crime motivated by revenge for the recent terror attacks. Nidal Faki said a car pulled up in front of his bus and blocked the road in the ultra-Orthodox Jewish settlement of Modi'in Elit, and that 2 young Israeli men boarded the bus and when they realized he was Palestinian began to beat him. Police are searching for those suspects. In other news, the United States has called for a meeting at the United Nations to address the recently discovered terror tunnels built by Hezbollah that infiltrate Israel from Lebanon. Ynet reports that the UN Security Council will address the issue on Wednesday, as well as Hezbollah's violation of a UN resolution 1701, which ended the 2006 Lebanon war and calls for the disarmament of Hezbollah. Israel and the U.S. are also working on a UN draft resolution to define Hezbollah as a terror organization. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, said this week, to fight the Shiite organization, we must use measures to silence Hezbollah and damage its terrorist operation. Well, the trial in Germany of a former SS guard has been suspended for now. 95-year-old Johann Rebogen, who is accused of complicity in mass murder at the Stutthof camp in Poland, had to be hospitalized for serious heart and kidney problems this week. A doctor will re-examine him in January to determine whether Rebogen is fit for trial. And the government of Poland launched a new project to map out all the Jewish cemeteries in the country and work to preserve them. Poland's Chief Rabbi Mordechai Shudrik met with the Polish Minister of Culture on behalf of the European Rabbinical Conference earlier this month, where the two agreed that the government would take responsibility for the sites and create a corresponding database online to provide information about who is buried there. There are some 1,400 ancient Jewish cemeteries in Poland. Most are in very poor condition, and only about 200 of them are clearly marked. The state of Illinois is taking a stance against Airbnb in light of its decision last month to drop Jewish settlements in the West Bank from its listings. On Wednesday, a government board in the Prairie State voted unanimously to notify Airbnb that it is in violation of a state law against boycotts of Israel, giving the vacation home rental giant 90 days to explain its actions. Illinois, by the way, was the first state to adopt a model of anti-BDS, boycott, divestment, and sanction legislation back in 2015. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, December the 14th. Live Shabbat services are coming up at 6 o'clock from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed by a concert from Nefesh Mountain. At 8, Saturday Night Live, writer Alan Zweibel speaks at the 92nd Street Y. At 9, a look at the life and work of Rabbi Avi Weiss with the documentary Righteous Rebel. At 10, movie actors, film critics, and Jewish thinkers analyze scenes from classic and contemporary films in cinema on the Jewish lens. And at 10:35, it's Musica with Kobe Aflalo. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 5:30, a look at this week's Torah portion. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, December the 14th, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.